Hi, I'm Dr. Pantelidis, and you can easily find me on my YouTube channel, Think in the Circle, all one word. In the early summer of 2020, our university promised students that for this year we would have business as usual. And I was asked to deliver this particular module face to face. Feeling perhaps less optimistic than some of my colleagues and perhaps even predicting the future, I asked my students who would like to study face to face and who would like to study online. From a class of 24, 12 decided to study face to face and 12 online. Throughout October and November, our sessions were delivered online and face to face at the same time until the second wave of COVID-19 forced us to go fully online. When I first began delivering sessions, I did not feel the need to make any major alterations to my delivery style. My laptop served as another member of the audience, but I ensured that the students who were physically in the classroom also had their laptops with them so that they could, if need be, interact with their colleagues who were there only online. In those first sessions, a lot of the content was simply what I call a digital handover. The same content delivered synchronously, but also recorded for easy access by those students who were either in difficult time zones or connectivity did not allow them to see some of the sessions. I made sure that I collected feedback throughout the module and adjusted my approach every single week. This feedback is from early November from some of the students who were physically in the classroom. Here, this one is talking about paying more attention if the person is sitting in front of them rather than online. And this other person saying that they're proud about being able to attend face-to-face lectures. However, they still utilized some of the elements that I thought would be more useful for those students who weren't there. For example, the pre-recorded sessions. This particular student stopped and checked and made some notes. I ensured that group members of student groups consisted of both online and face-to-face students. Interestingly, both the face-to-face group and the online group liked the fact that they did not feel segregated and could work together as one community. Although we did have some technical problems, but you can see some of the early feedback seems quite positive. One of the elements of this module in the past years was the inclusion of 3 to 4 guest speakers. But with limited travel and uncertainty, I was perplexed as to how to make sure this worked. So I started in the early weeks with, this is Omar, one of the first speakers. I pre-recorded this interview style with specific questions, really exploring the career of Omar, trying to inspire the students. It started picking up interest because I was uploading it every Monday for the students, but I was also making it available through my YouTube channel. And a lot of colleagues and professionals were interested in this series. So one episode became two, two became three. In the end, I had a guest speaker every single week. And even in some weeks, we had 2 guest speakers. Steve Loy here, one of the guest speakers, also came and did a live session, not just a pre-recorded one. But at the core of this module, we host an expo of innovative hospitality concepts. This normally happens in a physical environment around the middle of January. As the weeks were progressing, I realized that the chances of running a combined physical digital expo were diminishing, and I made sure that teams of students group comprised of a mix of physical present and remote students and utilized functionalities of our virtual learning system to enable them to work together. At the same time, I allowed for a lot of flexibility as to what software students wanted to use. Some utilized social media type of applications such as WhatsApp, others utilized email, others utilized the existing forum or murals that are made available to them. By the mid to end of November, the whole class had to move to fully online sessions due to the second wave. So by that time, the students had eased into knowing a lot of this digital software, and we could move into 100% synchronous collaboration using murals, using the workshop sessions, even doing debates. The next stage is really going past the disappointment of students keeping cameras and microphones off and going fully interactive, utilizing heavily interactive digital murals like Miro and making extensive use of software like Poll Everywhere. I made sure I utilized Google Slides as well, because that allowed for Poll Everywhere to be easily embedded. Here is some feedback from the students about interactive sessions. They really liked them. The more interactive sessions and elements I included, the more they liked it. One of the key elements was attempting to bring a little of the human and social element, and utilizing Plutchik's wheel of emotions. I take the class pulse at the beginning and the end of each session. You can see here in this particular session, we started with a lot of negative feelings, and by the end of the session, we had still a few negative ones, but quite a lot of positive ones, even though the class was still stressed. Some of the comments about the module, HA600 is the only class I enjoy online, very easy. They're talking about the online sessions, or dislike online sessions. It's kind of Vegemite. You either love it or hate it, or was that Marmite? Anyway, here's some other examples of some of the interactive word clouds we were creating. And around the end of November, the university pilots a central mid-module feedback system. It's a great idea, but I'm not so sure launching it mid-COVID with upset students helps ensure that many students would complete the survey. I only got 9 out of 24 of my students, even though I personally asked them numerous times, did a number of emails, a number of online requests. But I think students, even though only 9 engaged, the results were quite positive. There were some areas that I could catch early, at least. So I think it's a good idea. It needs a bit of reworking. So in December, we go full online mode. We're preparing for a Digital EXPO in January. We host Digital Dragons Den sessions, and we have colleagues from enterprise acting as dragons during formative assessment of the student concepts. The end result is really good, and this works to the benefit of the students for them to be ready for the Expo in January. So they design a digital poster focusing on concepts, and that assessment in itself aligns to the basics of design-based learning and teaching, where students take full ownership of their learning. And it's extensively used in robotics and design classes, but I feel it can also be used in management classes. Around early November, and because of one of Pulchnik's moments of truth, if you like, I realized some students were getting into a dark place. So I created a team called the DEMOS area, which stands for Digital Experience Open Mic Society. It's an open borders digital place. Any students from any modules can join. Students can take ownership not just of the digital events or their concepts, but also the teams area themselves. A lot of the students are owners, and they act as masters of ceremony, if you like. On the 15th of January 2021, we welcome around 60 or so visitors, including numerous external guests outside of the university, enjoying the Digital Expo. And here are some examples of the posters that the students presented. And this brings us to the end of this 5D, which originally was a joke. It was supposed to be the 3D is me in the physical environment, and the 2D is the digital environment. But by the end of the module, I realized that every single group has passed the assessment with flying colors. At least one group has further presented their concepts to a business class, whilst another is considering raising funds to take their concept to a pilot stage of development. And we have a 5D model, which came out of a difficult yet serendipitous moment in time, because it allowed me to slowly bring the students into a fully online, synchronous, fully interactive, fully design-based digital mode. Will we ever go back to full normality, or has higher education, learning and teaching changed beyond recognition? Will this type of model be here to stay? The answer to that remains to be seen. Thank you.